StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Hello, Namaskar, Namaskara, Namaskaram, Namaskar. My name is Pooja Divedi. Welcome to my class, The Daily Current Affairs, where we learn significant events of the current importance from the perspective of not only the prelims examination, but also from the perspective of the mains examination. This particular class, you just have to devote 20 to 30 minutes a day. You will get a lot of clarity on how UPSC asks the preliminary questions and how can you apply that knowledge in those questions. Other than that, whatever conceptual clarity and knowledge enhancement is needed, that is also provided through our daily current affairs. Alright, do not need to worry about making notes because I provide the PDF through my Telegram channel. That is by the name of Pooja Divedi UPSC. You can join it. Other than that, if you have any questions regarding this examination, you can also talk to me on my Instagram. Okay, so let's move forward. These are the various events that we have to cover. I asked a practice question to you and I will solve it together. Now, P2I batches, we have launched so many batches and they have been a success in enrollment. Now, we have come up with another batch. This is a morning batch. The classes will start from 11th of September and these classes will be live in nature. That means you will be able to interact with the teachers. Other than this, you will also get study material. You will get prelims test series. Other than the continuous tests that we give you on a weekly basis for prelims. Then we give you the mains test series. Many coaching institutes separate CSAT. We also provide you CSAT here. We provide you essay. We provide you ethics. We provide you mains test series. We also provide a study campus program. Those of you who will qualify UPSC Prelims 2024 will be called to the StudyIQ campus so that you can prepare there for the mains examination free of any extra charges. So, if you are a student of Hindi, you can opt for Hindi batch. If you are a student of English, we have the English batch and a hybrid batch as well that comprises of both Hindi and English. And actually, you have to use the code because all this will cost 70,000 if you do not use the code. You use the code PDLive. Okay, once you use the code PDLive, your classes will be provided to you in just 29,999. Alright, so consider the following personalities: Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, R. Venkataraman, V.V. Giri, Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma. So, how many of the above held the post of the Vice President of India before becoming the President of India? So, we have to answer it. See, yesterday it was Teachers' Day. Teachers' Day is celebrated so because of the birthday of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. When students approached him to show their admiration towards him and requested that they want to celebrate his birthday as a commemoration, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan suggested that a significant day should be marked here, and hence the Teachers' Day came into existence. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan served as the second President of India and he also served as the Vice President 2 times. So, the first will be definitely there. Even R. Venkataraman, V.V. Giri and Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma, they all spent their years in the service of the nation as Vice Presidents and thereafter President. Okay, so all four will be the correct answer. Those of you who have answered it correctly, by the end of this class, I will pronounce your names. Okay, moving on. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan in 1952, he and Janab Sheikh Khadir Hussain, they both were candidates for the vice presidential elections. However, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan's nomination was valid and that is why he was elected as the vice president and thereafter the presidential post in 1962. He served as the second president. The first was, of course, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Then V.V. Giri, after Dr. Zakir Hussain, he succeeded him as the Vice President of India in 1967. And after contesting elections for the presidency of India, he won and he was declared as the President of India in 1969. R. Venkataraman assumed the office of Vice President in 1984. And he succeeded Gyani Zail Singh as the next president in 1987. Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma was elected after R. Venkataraman. He tendered his resignation as vice president He was elected unopposed to the post of vice president and assumed office in 1987. Thereafter, he also became the president of India in 1992, and he beat competitions such as G.G. Swell and Ram Jethmalani. Alright, so let's move forward. With respect to the Nataraj statue, consider the following statements. Bronze representations of Shiva's Ananda Tandav first appeared in the Pallava period. Second says the Nataraj shows three Kriyas and shows Lord Shiva as the Lord of Dance. The central religious story behind Nataraj takes place in the Tilai forest of Chidambaram. So what do we have to see? How many statements given above is or are correct? UPSC has moved beyond the superficial knowledge. It has gone into the depths. Of course, when there will be a lot of competition, UPSC will try to pick out those candidates for the mains examination who have read in depth. In depth may not come just from the books. It will come from various government websites, and here I am to help you through that. I provide and take all the information from legit newspapers and those newspapers which have been legacy newspapers such as the Indian Express, such as the Hindu. Sometimes we also find certain mistakes in these papers, but government websites, they tend to be more reliable. That is why whatever information that I am going to give you has been taken from the government websites on art and culture only. Okay, so there are many more information that we find in just the standard books and NCRTs. NCRTs are of course important, but there are many other websites that have to be seen. And the information you may not find in your books, do not panic about it, because I am here to help you through the government websites and other websites as well. So, bronze representation of Shiva's Ananda Tandav first appeared in the Pallava period. That is definitely correct. The Pallavas were the first to start sculpting this in bronze representation, and that was very closed set and linear in nature. As a symbol of power, the Nataraj statue only came into existence or regarded as a symbol of power for the Chola dynasty. So first bronze representation of the Ananda Tandav or the dance of bliss by the Lord Shiva, the bronze representation of it was done during the Pallava period. Although as a symbol of power, it became only during the Chola period. Then the Nataraj shows three Kriyas: birth or creation, preservation and destruction. Not only three Kriyas, 5 Kriyas are shown. So Panch Kriya it should be. Those of you who have not read in depth may also get confused by the second statement. So this is correct. First statement is correct. Second statement is incorrect because it should be Panch Kriyas and not 3 Kriyas. And the central religious story that when did Lord Shiva did this particular dance, the Anand Tandav or the dance of bliss. This was during the rain, it was found out that it was actually set in the Tilai forest of Chidambaram. Alright, so first statement correct, second incorrect, third is correct. 1 and 3rd are correct, second is not, 2 only will be the correct answer. Recently, the world's tallest Nataraj statue has been installed at the Bharata Mandapam, where we will see the G20 summit taking place. Do you know a green corridor was created to transport this beautiful statue? And who has sculpted it? It has been sculpted by Radhakrishnan Sthapati and his team, of course. And this statue is made up of Ashtadhatus or the 8 metals. It's 28 foot tall, weighs 20 tons, and his team, sculptor Radhakrishnan Sthapati's team, was working from Swami Malai in Thanjavur district of Tamil Nadu. From there, we could source this beautiful statue, and a green corridor had to be created for the quick transport. Moving on, the poised sculpture of Nataraj, it belongs to the medieval era. It originated in South India. The patronage was given by the Chola dynasty in the 12th century CE. If we talk about the Chola bronze sculpture or Chola bronze statue, it is 96 cm tall, 82.8 cm wide and 28.2 cm in depth. Then bronze representations for the first time ever appeared in the Pallava period, that is in the 7th century CE and mid 9th century CE. Most of the students do not know this. Mostly they will think that it originated from the Chola period. However, when the Chola handicraftsmen started sculpting it, they built a flared and dynamic appearance to this particular statue. Whereas Pallavas, they only talked about close set and linear. So it became more dynamic and more alive during the Chola dynasty. Tanjavur or Tanjai was the capital of the imperial Cholas, and Shiva Nataraj became a symbol of power as the lord of dance during this period. It shows Panchakrityas or the 5 activities of Shivas, of Panchakrityas or Panchkriyas or 3 Kriyas. It's very different from the 3 Krityas. That is, of course, birth of the universe, destruction of the universe, and preservation of the universe. 5 include creation, preservation, destruction. There is also veiling and grace. As you can see beside me is the Nataraj statue. Alright. And on the forearm of his right hand is placed a Bhujanga Valaya. It is a bracelet which is shaped like a coiled snake. The left leg of the Nataraj is raised diagonally towards the right hand, and the foot is up in the air, which shows the path of salvation. Then there is Prabha Mandala, that is the circle of fire that encircles the Nataraj statue. Then the crown of coiled hair, which is the Jatamukha, and it is embellished with the river, goddess river, Ganga, snake, jewels, flowers, a crescent moon, and a human skull. Alright. Between the Pennar and the Kaveri rivers, we have Chidambaram. And here was the setting of the Tilai forest. Here only the religious story started, that this region is the earthly home of Lord Shiva. And he performed the dance of bliss over here. It's a long legend, but we will not get into that, because we have to only talk about those important things which are important from the perspective of your preliminary examination. Consider the following statements with respect to Article 1 of the Indian Constitution. It refers to Bharat, that is India, is a union of states. It mentions India to be a unitary state. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? Recently we saw that there has been a controversy on using the phrase President of Bharat on the invitations of the G20. The thing is that it has already been mentioned as Bharat in the Constitution, specifically in Article 1. But the Article 1 reads that India, that is Bharat, because there was a lot of debate about what should be the name of this newly born country. Heavily, people were inclined towards naming it as Bharat because it's an endonym. It has been given to us by ourselves, Bharat. Bharat or Bharatvarsha. India has been one of those countries, few countries in the world. I must say it is one of the only countries in the world that has so many names. Do you know we were also known as Jambudweep, as in the subcontinent beyond the Indus River. Jambudweep means a subcontinent or a region that has a lot of berries or jamun. And the word Sindhu has a lot to do with it. See, the Indus River, it was in Sanskrit known as Sindhu. It is still known as Sindhu. And because the Persians, they have a problem with pronouncing S, they call it H. And the people who lived beyond came to be known as Hindu. It doesn't matter what their actual religion now is, but they were known as Hindu because Persians couldn't pronounce S. So it became Hindu. And in Greek, it started being known as Indus. So you see, there is a Sanskrit name for our own river, that is the Sindhu River, because S wasn't being able to pronounce by the Persians, it became Hindu, and whoever lived beyond this in the entire subcontinent, be it north, be it south, be it northeast, be it west, they were all known as Hindus. And later on, Hind, Hindustan, all these terms were also used. So there are many names of the country India, that is Bharat. Okay. So now the thing is that I just hope you are understanding, because the thing is that we have to be of a clear mind. If our mind is filled with political hatred and political biasness, maybe UPSC is not the region for you. You are more inclined towards politics, UPSC is not the region for you. UPSC is for those who are neutral in mindset, who are not extreme in mindset. Any policy has pros and cons. Try to reach the origins of it and then try to make your mind free of any hatred. You will be so liberated. If you're politically blinded all the time, it is not an apt career for you. Your career could be good for politics. Your career could be, you can have your personal opinions, but make sure you train your thought process such that you become a bureaucrat in the future. And there will be many governments that you will have to work with. You will have to work with the central as well as the state government. If you are going to be biased towards one government, is that correct? You will be serving only the government. You won't be serving the people. The government is the elected representation of the people. So you have to ensure that whatever policies the government makes, because they have been elected, you will implement it without any bias, any ill will. Okay? So UPSC is for neutral mindset. Always keep that in mind. Okay? So here we take India and Bharat both. But the first statement from that perspective will be incorrect, because here it should be India, that is Bharat. It shall be a union of states. It mentions India to be a unitary state. No. Clearly it has been written, it's a union of states. What is the difference between the two? Unitary means that the powers to legislate, to execute, everything lies with the central government or the union government. Union of states means that although we have a centralized government, but the states have the right to legislate in their respective categories. This is the union of states in order to preserve the diversity of India. Unitary? No, it's not a unitary state at all. So second is incorrect, first is also incorrect. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Neither one nor two. India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. The states and territories shall be there as specified in the first schedule. So what is the territory of India? Territory of India, sometimes UPSC will ask us questions with respect to this as well. Territory includes the territories of the states, the union territories specified in the first schedule, and such territories which may be acquired in the future as well. Okay. So Article 1 says India, that is Bharat. That means both the names have been mentioned in the Constitution of India. The elite group, the urban class calls it India. The rural group calls it Bharat. More commonly, in the words of the common man, we can use either India or Bharat. Sometimes we also use Hindustan. We also use Hind, and so many names are there of India. Everything is okay. Everything is acceptable. Given the diversity of India, giving the endonym. Endonym means a name that has been given by us. We call ourselves, since ancient times, we have been calling ourselves Bharatvarsha. That is, Bharat starts from there. And it is named after a legendary king, Bharat. So, I have already told you this. Then, in 1949, the Constituent Assembly was very adamant about either naming it India or Bharat. Some people said back then that India is more relevant, while Bharat is more descriptive and more close to the heart. So both the names were accommodated equally. It acknowledges India as a union of states, not a unitary state, for the reasons that I gave you. And the union of states have to be mentioned so because Dr. B.R. Ambedkar beautifully said, if we are going to talk about a federation of states, it is not like the USA, that the states have the right to secede from the USA. Our country is such that the states are a union and they can never secede from the country, that is India and Bharat. Okay, so I hope you understand it. Recently, a Japanese amateur astronomer, amateur means not professional, Hideo Nishimura was in the news for discovering a or an asteroid, comet, planetoid, black hole. The correct answer to this question is option B, that is comet. Comets are quite unpredictable celestial objects, but NASA has said that comet Nishimura, which was discovered just few days back, couple of weeks back, it will be seen with the visible eye, and this week we can see it. We do not know the precise date, and because it is going to be very close to the glare of the sun, it will be visible either before sunrise or after sunset. The comet was discovered in mid-August by amateur astronaut Hideo Nishimura, and since then it has been officially named as C/2023 P1 Nishimura. And the comet is angularly near the sun. I have already told you about this statement. It is currently located in the constellation Leo. It completes an orbit around the sun once every 435 years. So all of you who are watching, you have just one chance to look at it, because of course we are not going to live beyond 100 years. If you take care of your nutrition, you may live beyond 100, 120, 130. People in Japan do that actually. So the thing is that if you take care of your nutrition, you cannot live up to 400 years. So you have just one chance. Okay. Comets are large objects that are made up of dust and ice. In the heart of it, we can call it a frozen nucleus, and the tail is approximately, it could be as long as 16 kilometers, like a small town. It is made up of dust and gas. Why does it come close to the sun? Because the gravity of the sun is such that it pulls certain bodies close to it. And comet, when they orbit around the sun, they can come as close to be visible from the earth. Okay. And where do these comets come from? These come from either Kuiper belt, that is beyond the orbit of Neptune, and these are short-term orbits. These have short-term orbits. These particular comets can come and orbit the sun in like 200 years as well. The ones that are in the Oort cloud, that is beyond the Kuiper belt, they can take as long as 250,000 years to orbit, as you can see over here. So comets are made up of frozen ice, and their tail is made up of dust and gas. As they come close to the sun, they can also burst and go into coma. Okay, moving on to the next portion of the entire segment, let's talk about the types of hydrogen. Consider the following pairs. Pink hydrogen is generated through electrolysis powered by nuclear energy. That means the energy we are using to make hydrogen comes from nuclear power plants. Then, on nuclear energy, turquoise hydrogen is made using a process called methane pyrolysis. White hydrogen is made through electrolysis using solar power. So what do we have to see? How many pairs given above is or are correct? See, whenever we are talking about the colors of hydrogen, we have different spectrums of hydrogen. We have blue, green, pink, turquoise, white, yellow. There are many types of hydrogen, and that depends on the process that is being used to create it and where we are getting the energy from. Okay, so first, where we are getting the energy from, energy here means electricity. Then second is what is the process that we are using to create it. All right, so if we are getting the energy from cleaner sources, we will definitely make sure that we are not emitting any greenhouse gas. Pink hydrogen, when we use electricity or electrolysis is used through the energy that we get from nuclear energy, it is known as pink hydrogen. It can also be touted as purple hydrogen and red hydrogen. So first is correct. Turquoise hydrogen is used by using a process which is called methane pyrolysis. I will talk about this as we talk about the explanation. White hydrogen, no, it's the yellow hydrogen that uses solar energy in order to generate electrolysis and thereafter produce hydrogen. First is correct, second is correct, third is not correct. Two pairs only will be the correct answer. A day-long conference on green hydrogen pilots in India. That means what are the new schemes that have been introduced by public sector and private sector to produce green hydrogen. It was exhibited recently on 5th, and it of course, because India is demanding so much energy, we are growing at a very fast pace. So for growing at a fast pace, we need energy. it was known that the power demand has grown up by 21% in August 2023 if we compare it to August 2022. Our daily basis power demand is about 40 gigawatt to 50 gigawatt. This is how fast we are growing. Green hydrogen is made by using clean energy. So when renewable energy is used to generate electricity and that electricity is used to do electrolysis, which is splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen, we call it green hydrogen because we are not getting that electricity from coal or any other source that is emitting greenhouse gas. Thereafter, it is stored, distributed and stored, and here we get green hydrogen. The process to make it is really expensive, and that is why we are trying to make sure that it is feasible. Now, green hydrogen is made by using clean energy. I have already told you about this. All right. Blue hydrogen, we get it from majorly natural gas through a process which is known as steam reforming. In here, we bring together natural gas and heated water in the form of steam. The output is hydrogen, but carbon dioxide is also produced. So remember about blue hydrogen. But if we do not store it, if we do not do the carbon capturing, it becomes grey hydrogen. But if we are carbon capturing and storing it for future use, we are making sure that it is blue hydrogen. And it is also known as low carbon hydrogen because, of course, carbon dioxide is also produced in the process. Pink hydrogen, when we generate electrolysis, do the electrolysis through the usage of nuclear energy, it is known as pink hydrogen and known as purple and red hydrogen. Turquoise, we use the process methane pyrolysis. We produce hydrogen and solid carbon. And low emission hydrogen, it is dependent on the thermal process that is being powered. It depends on the thermal process that is being used to power the entire thing, and that is why turquoise hydrogen right now is at a very nascent stage, a very childhood stage. Yellow hydrogen is the hydrogen made through electrolysis using solar power. Okay. Now, with respect to Indonesia, which of the statements is not correct? The equator doesn't pass through the Java Islands of Indonesia. Kalimantan is the Indonesian portion of the island of Borneo. Jakarta is in Java while Bandung is in Sulawesi. Always keep in mind, these kind of historically important cities are also important. Bandung Conference, non-aligned movement. Then, Strait of Malacca lies between Sumatra and Malaysia. So, we have to choose which is not correct. For this, of course, we need the help of map. Now, the Prime Minister of India has went to Jakarta to attend the India-ASEAN Summit and the East Asia Summit. So that is why this question is relevant from that perspective. And here is Java Island, here is Jakarta, and here is Bandung. Both are in Java. Alright. From the island of Java, the equator doesn't pass through. Here is equator. Then Kalimantan, this is the island of Borneo, where we have Malaysia, Brunei Darussalam, and Indonesia's portion of Kalimantan. So I hope certain things are clear. So equator doesn't pass through the island, Java island of Indonesia is correct. Kalimantan is the Indonesian portion of the island of Borneo is correct. Jakarta is in Java while Bandung is in Sulawesi. No, both are in Java. So C is the correct answer because we had to select the not correct one. Strait of Malacca lies between Sumatra and Malaysia. Here is the island of Sumatra, here is Malaysia, and here is the Strait of Malacca. Alright. So all this particular statement, this and this, these three are correct. C is not. C is the correct answer. We have to consider the pairs. We have to consider the pairs in the sense the ASEAN country, and that country is the chair of ASEAN for which year? Because chair keeps on rotating or presidency keeps on rotating. Laos for the year 2025, Malaysia for the year 2024, Indonesia for the year 2023. So how many pairs given above is or are correct? Indonesia is the correct chair of ASEAN. That is definitely correct. Laos is the chair for 2024. Malaysia is the chair for 2025. Alright. So first is incorrect. Second is incorrect. Only third is correct. One only will be the correct answer. Myanmar won't be allowed to lead Association of Southeast Asian Nations in 2026, and this has come up like a blow to the military junta. Who is going to chair it? It is the Philippines. Philippines was supposed to do it for 2027, but at the request of the ASEAN, now Philippines will be the chair for 2026. ASEAN or Association of Southeast Asian Nation came into existence in 1967 and that was through the Bangkok Declaration or the ASEAN Declaration. The 5 founding members include Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and the Philippines. These were the 5 founding members. Here, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand. Again, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, Thailand. This is how you revise. And later on 5 more countries joined. So now it is a grouping of 10 countries. We will get into that as well. 1967, the birth year, 5 founding members, because UPSC loves asking about founding members. The basic aim was to ensure that there is economic growth and security. Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam. These are the countries that form the ASEAN. ASEAN is actually headed by a chair. It also has a secretariat in Jakarta. And I told you about the chairs. I have given it here as well. The 5-point consensus is not being met by Myanmar. That is why this step has been taken. An immediate end to violence in the country is one of the 5-point consensus, which Myanmar hasn't implemented right now. Dialogue among all parties, the appointment of a special envoy, humanitarian assistance by ASEAN, and the special envoy's visit to Myanmar to meet with all the parties. So once that doesn't get fulfilled, if that doesn't get fulfilled, of course, Myanmar will be boycotted like this only. This is a practice question for you to answer in the comment segment. The Idle Wings, the idea of the Tamil Nadu police, has stepped up efforts to bring back a 12th century rare bronze idol of Dancing Krishna that was stolen from Tamil Nadu and belongs to the Chola period. It has been traced to which of the following countries? There are the options, you have to answer it. Let me take the names of those students who have answered the last question correctly so that you can answer this as well. Many of you have answered it correctly. Ria has also answered the question that I asked in the midst. Good one, Ria. Simran, correct. Ria. Mandeep, Raj Tiwari, thank you, Raj. Then Pranjul, very good. You have also answered the question that I asked in the midst. Spaghetti butter, thank you so much. Same to you. Siddharth, then Shiva has also answered the midst question correctly. Then Komal has answered it correctly. Ritu, very good. Then Mallinath has answered it correctly. Padmashri has answered it correctly. Kabilan Varun Kumar has also answered the midst question. Very good. Dr. Priyadarshan, Abhishek has answered the midst question and the last question. Very good. Then Abhijit, very good. Thank you so much by YouTube views. Then Mansi Saxena has answered it correctly. Omkar has answered both the questions correctly. Very good. Utkal, Mukul. Thank you so much for answering both the questions. Now answer this question as well.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल.